We're going to close out our week together in the Wonderful Day of the Lord broadcast by looking at the issue of anger as found in the book of Proverbs. We're talking about walking in wisdom, and the book of Proverbs is going to deal with many issues in which we need divine wisdom, and one of those is anger. And we looked yesterday at the causes of anger. Why do we get angry? I want to look today more at how to deal with anger. If we have anger in our heart, our spirit, how are we to go about dealing with that in a way that is honoring to God? In chapter 19 of Proverbs, verse 11, it says, "A man's insight makes him slow to anger, and it is his honor to overlook a transgression." So let's start once again with wisdom. As we are being wise in our understanding of life, we're looking at wisdom, examining wisdom, dissecting wisdom, and that leads us to doing the same thing with all these issues that we're going to be facing. So we're looking at anger. What benefit does anger bring about? What good does it do to be angry? And we have to determine, as I said yesterday, there are times to be angry, but how do we express that anger, and at what points do we get angry? And so he says here in this verse 11 that we need insight so that we're slow to anger. Not that we never get angry about anything, but our anger is meditated. It's slow. We have chosen to be angry at the right time over the right things. For it says, as the rest of the verse goes on, it's an honor to a person to overlook a transgression. If you're going to jump on everybody who conflicts with you or hurts you in some way, you're going to have a pretty miserable life probably, because there's a lot of people in this world that's going to cross paths with us that aren't going to be on our team. So it's a true honor for us. It's honorable to be able to say, I see that person is flawed. They said something they shouldn't have said. They may have stepped on my toes a bit, but I can overlook that at this point. It's not that big a deal. That's honorable to be able to do that. And then another thing that we can do is develop self-control. In 16:32, it says, "He who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his own spirit than he who captures a city." It really is commending here then the idea of self-control. Anger does not have to control us, but we can control anger. Just as the one who rules his own spirit is greater than one who captures a city, which would take a great effort, then he says here, look, you can control your anger, you can control your emotions, you can control your spirit. And he encourages us to do so. That's how we deal with anger in that way. And then thirdly, we can grow in patience and hope. In chapter 20, verse 22, it says this, "Do not say, I will repay evil. Hope in the Lord, and he will save you." So here he's saying, look, the simple thing that many of us do that's very common, and so the scriptures talk about it quite often, is getting even with somebody who hurts us, getting a little bit of revenge because they have stepped on us. But don't say that, he says. Don't say, I will repay evil. Rather, hope in the Lord and he'll save you. So replace our desire for vengeance with hope in the Lord, who will go to bat for us when it's appropriate and when it's needed and perfectly. And then one more passage of scripture, one that we looked at yesterday and left off with, and that is chapter 22, and it's talking about this hanging around with people who are angry. I'm going to read those verses again. Verse 24, do not befriend a man of anger. Do not come along with a man of great wrath, lest you learn his ways and take on a snare against your soul. So yesterday we looked at one angle of these verses. Today we'll briefly mention the second angle. On the one hand, don't hang around with angry people. You'll become like them. On the other hand, hang around with peaceful people who have their anger under control. That will be also a encouragement for you to do the same thing. But when Proverbs was written, we're talking mainly about personal, everyday involvement and conversations with people, friendships. Today we're a much more complex society, and we have all this social media, all these platforms, all this media that's out there, and that also lays into this. If you're going to listen to things that are always angry, always looking for a fight, always trying to find some fault with somebody, don't be surprised that you find yourself agitated, anxious, and angry. It's all right to know that some of these things and look into these things. Don't bury your head in the sand. But on the other hand, be careful with that, and make sure you're not spending all your time with a bunch of angry people on media. Instead, look for also people that are giving you good insight into how to live life God's way, to those that are expounding the truth of Scripture, for example, and so forth. So who we hang with, who we listen to, is going to affect our attitudes, our anger, and so forth in life. So find people that know how to handle anger biblically, spend time with them in person and on the media as well. Well, this is a good start to the book of Proverbs, I trust. So you join us again next week if you can, as we move forward in our study of wise living in the book of Proverbs.